Hey everybody, Stephanie here. I wanted to shoot a quick video to share my experience on, I just had my daughter 7 weeks ago and I had a VBAC, and VBAC stands for a Vaginal Birth After C-section. So I felt compelled to shoot a video to share my experience with all of you for those women who are, kind of researching to see if it's something that they want to do. So I thought I'd share my story. So a couple disclosures before I get into it. First of all, I saw doctors. My OB was completely on board with the whole thing. I know there are some doctors out there who say once a C-section, always a C-section. So first of all, my doctors were completely on board with the whole thing. Second of all, my doctors said that I was a good candidate for it. So that being said, I'm just going to share with you my story and what happened. So my son, he's my first. He just turned 2 in October, and I had him with a C-section. So with him, I was in labor for 21 hours, went 14 hours without the epidural, and pushed for 3.5 hours, and nothing was going anywhere. He wasn't moving at all, and ended up having a C-section after all of that. So the recovery was, a little bit tough because I was dealing with, all the exhaustion of the labor and everything. And so it was, how long did I actually get up and walk around? I think I didn't actually get up to walk around without help for maybe 2 weeks. And then I feel like I healed pretty quickly because I was in pretty good shape before, I got pregnant with him. So, with everything that I had gone through and then with the C-section, I think I healed, pretty quickly. But I was really, really happy with, my scar and everything, and, getting back into shape really wasn't a problem. I started working out maybe 3 months in. I went into the gym, when they were old enough where I could put him in the daycare there. And then with my daughter, who's 7 weeks, so they're almost exactly 2 years apart, with her, well, during my pregnancy with her, I saw a chiropractor. And I don't know if that had anything to do with, I know my pelvis is tilted. I was a gymnast for 15 years, so I beat my body up pretty bad, and had scoliosis as a kid and all of that. So I don't know if the chiropractic, really straightened everything out and just, helped me do this whole entire process. I don't know. I can't tell you. All I can say is that it felt great getting adjusted while I was pregnant. I didn't do that with my son. And then with her, I labored at home for a little while, and then once my contractions got to every 3 minutes, and see, this was the difference. My water broke with my son. So it was, let's go to the hospital, let's go now. So I was there forever, it felt like, in the hospital. And then with my daughter, it was, my water didn't break. I was just having the contractions, and then once they got to every 3 minutes, we went to the hospital, which we got lost. That's funny. And then once I got there, I was only 3 centimeters, labored for the next 7 hours, and they wanted me to get the epidural pretty early, so I didn't feel the contractions and all of the rough stuff and the throwing up and all of that I had with my son. So when I got there, maybe 2 hours after I got there, they gave me the epidural. So the process, I was having a good old time there because I wasn't feeling all of the pain. Because they said if anything were to happen, and now if you're wanting to do a VBAC, obviously the doctors are going to tell you all the different kind of risks, the uterine rupture, all these different things. And so they wanted me to be prepped just in case if anything were to happen, then they could just, give me another dose of the epidural to completely numb me, and then they would just take me off into surgery. So I got that pretty early. 7 hours I was at the hospital, and then I was fully dilated. Then I pushed for a half hour, and she was out. Now my son, who I had the C-section with, he was 8 pounds 6 ounces, 21 inches long. So I thought, okay, maybe because I'm a smaller frame, maybe he just didn't fit. Well, my daughter, she was 8 pounds 4 ounces, 21 inches long. So she was only 2 ounces smaller than my son, and I was able to push her out fine. So that is my story and what happened to me. The recovery for me after doing the VBAC first of all, I could eat. I wasn't on a liquid diet like I was with the C-section. I was in the hospital for only 2 days after I had her. Or I was there 2 days total. So basically only 24 hours after I had her, I could go home. I could eat. And the recovery was a lot better. You can hear her in the background. I think she's waking up. So I'm going to wrap this up because she's probably getting hungry. So that's just my experience on what happened. Just two totally different pregnancies, two totally different deliveries, but I can literally say that I've done it all. I've done the C-section, I've done the vaginal birth, and now I feel really accomplished because of, you know, it's kind of always what I wanted, and it's how it's supposed to be. And so for me, I really wanted to, I knew the risks going both ways, and for me, I just really wanted to have a vaginal birth because of the recovery. I had a 2-year-old at home. I wanted to get back to, you know, my life quicker, and I didn't want to feel, I wanted to feel like, yay, I did it. And so I think it's also helped to, you know, as a woman, you know, after you give birth and, you know, you're kind of going through that transition period, and then, you know, some women go through the postpartum depression, and I've never had to deal with that. And I think this time around I felt just really accomplished, and I felt like, you know, I was able to do the thing that I wanted to do in the first place. So that's just me personally. Now, having, like I said, having babies, it's not easy either way you do it. And if you're more comfortable just having the C-section, because I went back and forth and I didn't really know, you know, it's confusing, and you hear all the risks, and it's scary. And so I'm obviously telling my personal story, and whatever a woman chooses and how she wants to do it, if she wants to go for the VBAC or if she wants to just do the C-section, it's completely up to you. You know your body, and you know what's best, and as long as you're healthy and the baby's healthy, that's really all that matters. So cheers to you on this Friday from chilly Chicago, and I will see you guys soon.